All right, guys. We are here. Welcome back to Dads Deserve Justice. We got a special guest coming on today. Let me make sure everything is set up correctly. So give me a second here. Okay, so we got that here. Oh, I think I see my brother. What's happening, sir? Let me see. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. There we go.
All right. How's it going today?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, pretty good. You have to bear with me because I'm trying to figure this all out. We had it perfectly working the other day. We came
Mm-hmm.
in last night to do a show, and it was all types of mess ups.
That's how it be when you doing live stuff.
That's right. So let me see. I think I got this on here. Let me see if I can do three things since I got you in here. This is the stage. Okay, that's two on the side. Here's our the days. That's next week. That's this. Okay. And let me check, make sure we're on and we can hear you everywhere else. Um,
How many kids you got?
okay, let me check it. IG is on. Oh, it's still counting down there. We are here working. Okay. All right. Check and see what's it called working. Instagram says it's showing up, but I don't see it. Hold on. Make sure YouTube is on.
Even with that.
Well, it looks like we are on there. Um, all right, we're live there. One more thing to check. Mm. I don't see me on IG. Still seeing that. Mm. It says we're live there. All right, we can play one other thing real quick. It's going to be on here. All right. All right. What are you saying, Marcus? Can you see Judge Judy?
Yeah, I can see Judge Judy and
Okay.
you and myself.
Okay, cool. All right, all right. Well, hello, guys. I believe we're streaming everywhere. I got one more place to turn it on. Wait a minute. All right, all right, all right. Well, hello, guys. Hey, Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander here. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but this thing is working all right. All right. That was your thing. Okay. And we should be streaming on multiple different platforms right now. My name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. Whoops, wait a minute. Oh, there it goes. All right, all right. Well, guys, I apologize, but we know we are just kicking this thing off. This is our second show here with Winners All Around, WAA Networks, guys, and we have a special guest on our program today. This is our show where we talk about fathers, dads, families, all that type of good stuff. It's sponsored by Above and Beyond the Car Enterprises and Dads Deserve Justice, which is an organization I sort of inspired me to kick off due to the fact of what happened when I was a young man, or when I was a kid. My father went through a contentious divorce. And the interesting thing about it was, many of you know, I was adopted by a Caucasian couple. And so 40 plus years ago, he went through a contentious divorce, and it took him 3 custody battles to finally win custody of us. My mother was probably not the best parent to raise us, but even incarcerated at one point. Now, the interesting thing was, ironically, it was for letting someone use our property. We had a farm to sell what we called back then pot, right? Marijuana, weed, stuff like that, cannabis. And she lost custody. She won the first custody battle, first 2 actually. My father went to the 3rd one, but he lost the first one. No domestic violence, no issues. And she was incarcerated. That's crazy. But 40 years later, here we are sitting here, and I went through a contentious divorce. I was a provider. I was the caregiver. And it was something my attorney said that the courts wouldn't understand. I thought it was about the truth. And I realized very quickly it wasn't about the truth. It was about who could create the narrative in a short period of time for someone who was going to punch out and go home that night and give a ruling. And unfortunately, I found out that 40 plus years later, we still had issues with our system when it came to fathers. And I saw a post that sort of inspired me years ago to put this thing together, which was, they're not deadbeat dads, they're dead broke. And I said, wow, for what it cost me, for what I'm sure it cost my father, for what I've gone through and what so many fathers have gone through, that just resonated with me. And then I realized, once I went through it myself, some of my best friends told me the truth about what they were going through when they were going through stuff. And that just shocked me, because I thought they were very, very close to me. And I knew what they were going through to a degree, but I didn't know it was as bad as it was until I actually went through it myself and felt like I hit a club. And so that inspired me to launch Dads Deserve Justice. Been working on it for many, many years, setting the foundation in the political arena, setting the foundation as far as our network, and putting it together with winners all around. And so here we are. So let me play you a little clip real quick, I think is a good way to start off, and we'll kick in with our special guest. So here we go.
We're supposed to, in this country, treat mothers and fathers the same with regard to custody. No one has a less equal position. However, when I practiced in the family court and then was later a judge in the family court, I found that that law was honored in the breach. Most judges and most psychologists that served the court always thought that the mother was better. And I didn't always find that that was true.
You have a child with him?
Yes.
That's not your child. That's both of your child. No, look, just a second. That child is both of yours. So either you take the child or he takes the child. He's the father no less than you're the mother. So
you take this up with the family court judge. Your case is dismissed. We understand each other? Take it up with the family court judge. When the family court judge issues an order of support, whoever the order of support is going to be entered against. But I'm going to suggest this to the two of you. You've wisely or unwisely made a child together. You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent. He would not have that right to take the child away from you. That's what the court said. And whether you like him or not, whether you like her or not, whether he's a nice guy or not, whether he's a bum or not, he's a bum that you picked to make two children with. Mm-hmm. And if he shows up to see the children on a Wednesday and he's given you some indication that he wasn't going to be there on Wednesday, and for no other reason than he said he wasn't going to come, you don't let your children see him, that's wrong. But that's wrong. It's not between the two of you. He could be the biggest bum in the world. He lived with his children. His children know who he is. They have a right to see their father unless he is abusive to them, dangerous to them, which I assume that prior to 2007, you never made that allegation. Would that be a fair statement?
That would be fair.
Well, then unless he had some psychotic breakdown, which I doubt.
Well,
which I doubt. Nothing changed with regard to his love for his children from 2007 to 2009, except that you were PO'd with him. Now, that's unfair. Whether you like that or not, it's unfair. It's unfair for the children. Unfair to him, I don't care about. Unfair to you, I don't care about. But it's unfair for the children. And if you deny them the right to see their father, they will eventually hate you. I want you to understand that. I want you to be prepared for the fact that if you don't let your children visit meaningfully with their father, there will be a day down the road when they will hate you, justifiably so. Do you get it? Do you get it? Justifiably so, because you will have allowed your anger to get in the way of their relationship with their father. Good, bad, or middle of the road. That's who you picked to make them with. You don't visit your bad judgment onto your children. Do we understand each other?
I understand you. I agree with you.
I don't give a, listen, since I'm not adjudicating that or not, I have to tell you this. In 40 years, I've seen tens of thousands of women just like you, mm-hmm, who will invest all of their beautiful bloom time in hating the person that they made their children with. And I guarantee you this, you know what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to drive him away. He's got a beautiful new fiance, and he and this beautiful new fiance will go on and make a beautiful new family. And one day he's going to say, I'm tired. I want to see my kids. I would love to see my kids. And I feel badly that I'm not seeing my kids. But she really is an SOB. And she created this problem. And when they get older, they'll see me. But I'm not going to waste my time anymore. Eventually, he's going to say that.
Mr. Baxter said that.
Just a second. If he said it, it's because you made it difficult. I've seen you for a very short period of time. And I know that if he said it up until now, he said it because you've made it difficult. It's not
true.
right that he's got a new girlfriend, that he's gone on to a new life, that
I
you
was
don't have a
very
new life,
thankful once
that
in
you
that.
don't have a new life. All of those things are
That's
very
not true
unfair,
either.
that you're
That's
living
not
with
true.
your sister, that you no longer have a home for your children. I read your answer.
We have a beautiful home. We have a beautiful new home, and we are very happy.
Well,
And we
you
have a
want me
very
to read
bright
your
future.
answer? You want me to read your
Sure.
answer?
Yeah.
Fine. I'm going to read what you said. Then if
Mhm.
what you said is a lie, you said, because of Chris, I don't have a place to raise my children. My sister has taken us in on a temporary basis. That's what you swore to in your answer.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful home.
Miss Rizzo, I said all that's necessary to you. Put your hand down. You have to know that this has nothing to do with you. You're extra, you're fodder. This has nothing to do with you. You have nothing to do with his children. You have nothing to do with his former life. This has nothing to do with you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. I wouldn't give up so easily on visiting with my children.
I have no plan on it.
I wouldn't give up so easily. But I'm telling you, I did my best. He should be seeing him regularly, because the nonsense that you give me is nonsense, because you left him alone with the baby from 4 to 10 at night and 4 to midnight when you weren't home. So you weren't concerned that he wasn't taking care of him, because if you were concerned that he wasn't taking care of him, you wouldn't have left him home.
Can I say something? I allowed him.
All right. Let's come back here. All right. Well, sir, happy Valentine's Day to you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I think that was a interesting start of a broadcast here with winners all around, and dads deserve justice. And it's Valentine's Day, so as you see, my partner hooked up this little background for
Yeah,
Valentine's.
looks good, man.
And we're excited to have you on. So I know it's Marcus. You got Marcus, and then I had I guess I should read what I had up here, because you sent me that over there, so that gives you a little bit of background. But that was actually one of the events that you were doing, right? Let's see what that was. This was American Education, and that was, there it goes. Okay, so here goes an event that you were actually doing. American Education is thriving at one of Baltimore's best public schools, Calvin M. Rodwell. I assume the M is Marcus.
No, Calvin. I think it's Maurice. That school was named after Baltimore City police officer.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay. With the focus on attendance and STEM and technology, this school is excelling thanks to the dedication of administration, teachers, parent engagement. Calvin Rodwell hosted its dads and father figures breakfast for over 120 dads. Presents were felt. Fathers are deeply involved in their sons and daughters' lives, setting an incredible example. Shout out to the grandparents and guardians that came out to support as well. Together, we're building a brighter future. And you were there and making moves with fathers fighting for fathers.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a great event. That's one of our initiatives, that we do around in Baltimore City and around the state of Maryland, some surrounding counties, of gravitating to our dads, to making sure that their presence are inside of the schools.
Okay. And so Marcus Trent, you founded, give us a little background on that. You founded Fathers Fighting for Fathers.
Yeah. So back in 2000, first of all, thanks for having me, man. It's good to see you again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fathers Fighting for Fathers, first initiated, it was created in 2022. everything starts from from history. And so have a beautiful daughter, Layla, that was born and came into this world. And, me and mom was raising her. And then, there's a breakup, right? Breakups happens all the time. And after the breakup, my daughter was taken from one state to another, right? And so as I began to journey down this path, right, it's kind of like when you go inside a garage, right, and you see you lift up a box and you see a whole bunch of ants under there, right? And so when I got inside of the quote unquote family court systems, I not only noticed myself, right, the implicit biasness and stuff, but also hundreds of other fathers and mothers too, but mostly fathers that was currently going through what I'm also going through. So, I went to Google and I was looking particularly for some advocacy work to help, right, to address the immediate needs of what particular happened to me, right, about my daughter getting taken out of the state. And so we founded Fathers Fighting for Fathers Community Mentorship. It's a 501c3. It's registered right here in the state of Maryland. And the whole goal with that organization is one of the initiatives is to strengthen the family unit through the lenses of the fathers, right? We know that the fathers are the lowest common denominator in our communities and our schools. So we really tried to make their presence known in their schools. All the studies show that when parents are in their children's life, they exceed well, they thrive well in school, social, economically, and all that stuff like that. And so, circling back, to the advocacy part. And so when that happened to me, my daughter was taken out of the state. So what we did was we went up to Annapolis, right? We got over 6,000 petitions signed up in Annapolis in 2022. Fast forward to 2023, we was able to have Delegate Nick Charles out of PG County. We had Senator the Honorable Jill Carter from the Senator side sponsor the bill, and the new bill now is called Relocation of Child Safety Act, and that's important because before this bill, right, what happened was that it took me 5 months and $8,000 to get in court. 5 months and $8,000 to get in court. And by the time I got in court, right,
and this whole time you weren't seeing your daughter.
I was not seeing my daughter because when one parent takes the child, it alienates the other parent, right? So it alienated me and everything, and not just me, mom, grandparents, aunts, cousins, and everything, right? And so the courts in the state of Maryland, the courts did not consider. Believe it or not, right, the courts up until 2023, the courts did not consider that it was an emergency when your child is taken out of the state from the other parent. They did not. The only way emergency hearings are held if the child is in danger, as far as, with child abuse, mom or dad has been and gotten some type of criminal activity, CPS. But when your child is removed and one parent takes and goes to PA, Virginia, New York, there was no law in place, right? And so what we did, we went up there to Annapolis. We spoke to over 117 delegates and senators. Like I said, Delegate Nick Charles, now Senator Nick Charles, and Senator Jill Carter sponsored the bill. And the new bill that was signed into law last year by Honorable Governor Wes Moore in October 2023, the new law now is that if a parent wants to relocate to another state, right, or relocate, the other parent can now file an expedited hearing, and the courts has to hear it now in 30 days now, right? Mm-hmm. That's the game changer, right? And not only that, right? So, and I love Jill Carter so much because of her advocacy work that she's done for the past 20 years. In the legislation, she was like, okay, all right, Marcus, what if they don't relocate, right? What if they don't move out of the state of Maryland? What if they go from Baltimore City to PG County, Montgomery County, and it interferes with the other parent's ability? So we put that second language in there that if a parent also relocates and it interferes with your ability to maintain your relationship with your child, you can file that also too. So I'm happy to report that since that piece of legislation has been signed into law, we have helped over 71 fathers and 10 parents filed this piece of legislation. And so I'm really thankful for Governor Westmore for signing that piece of legislation. And so but that was the advocacy part that we was able to do. People can look it up. It's House Bill 440, Senate Bill 42. It's called Relocation of Child Safety Act. So that's the advocacy part of Fathers Fighting for Fathers, because one of the things that we are truly big on is not only bringing awareness, right, to the fathers that are doing incredible work, especially in the Black and brown community, right? You know what I mean? But also we want to try to fight for policies and legislation, right? You know what I mean? Because what good, right, is a good dad like yourself and myself, right? If we don't have policies in Annapolis, right, that will actually support, right? And you have two fathers on it here right now that desire to be in their children's life, that want to raise their children, right? You know what I mean? But yet we have a system. Some of what the judge Judy was saying on that clip right there, right, of the court system being biased, and then you have some of the some mothers out there that are just bitter about the relationship and use their sons and daughters as pawns and stuff. So we are 2.5 years in. I'm really excited about some initiatives and some advocacy work that we got going forward though. But that's the kind of like in a small shell, how Fathers Fighting for Fathers got started off. And we got an amazing team. We got a good advisory board. Senator Michael Mitchell, former Senator Michael Mitchell, one of the Mitchell brothers, he's on our board. We have Kelly Simpson from Maryland Parent Networking. She's on there to bring her expertise and stuff. We have former NAACP, Nashana is on there to give her expertise. So we really have a team, but our whole goal is to strengthen the family units, but also important of attacking and addressing the systematic biasness and the prejudices that goes on in the family court systems.
Right. That's a lot, and like I said in a little intro, I had a little bit, my father went through it 40 years ago, and it just doesn't seem like anything has changed. And I love what you had said to me the first time we spoke, and you just talked about having to change the laws.
Yeah.
And then having to go, Governor Westmore, we spoke last night. We're trying to set something up with him because we've done a lot of different things with him. But that's a slow process. I know. I hear, you talked about 5 months and just to get into the system and into the courts. My situation has been 6 years. 6 years of up and down and up and down and up and down. One of the mistakes I probably made with my father, I looked at my father's case years later, and I said, well, it was almost like he needed to. His next attorney was someone who sort of went logistical, because there's no room for emotion in the family courts. It's about children and about love and all this.
Right.
They're not looking at any of that,
right.
And when he went more logistical, he seemed to have some more more success. And I think back in my situation, and I was like, well, that can't be so. This is right. That's wrong. This doesn't make any sense. And and they didn't really care about that. But then it came down also because if you really look at our society system, if you look at the new administration, the Trump administration, all this, they have a different take on life, which comes from the business and from the money aspect.
Right.
And they were honing in on, Musk, he said, well, if you cut out small little problems, right, little pieces of it, easy to grow back. Right? If you get rid of the whole thing and start over, then, it makes more sense. And it made more sense to him. But of course, to a lot of other people, it didn't make any sense. And that's one of the things I think that bothers me when I look at this system is saying, okay, even as African Americans in the world, no oppressor has ever given the oppressed equal anything.
Yeah.
In the history of the world, it's always been taken.
Right.
So how do you chop away at a system? one law at a time, two
Right.
laws, three laws. You really believe, or have you done any research, or that's going to make a difference someday?
Yeah, oh man, I'm glad you brought up that point. And about 3 weeks ago, I was sitting with Senator Jill Carter, and she said something so simple but so profound when it comes to when you're dealing with slavery, when you're dealing with our current conversation right now with debt fathers, out there making sure that they have rights and stuff like that. She said, Marcus, she said that, we must start on equal footing, right? We must start at the beginning, right? You can chip away and chip away and chip away, which is, for years, right? You have people come in and come in and they push for this policy here and they push for that piece of bill there, just like I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we are looking for, right? Wholeheartedly, what we're looking for is a declaration, right, for the state of Maryland to come out and declarate and say, hey, look, both parents, right?
Mm-hmm. Both parents.
This is an executive order. Both parents have, equal rights, right, to their child. Because right now, right, if you Google right now, if you can Google right now in the state of Maryland, does both parents have equal rights if there's no order in place? And the Google will tell you from the state of Maryland, right? It would say, well, it's presumed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's presumed this, it's presumed that. And what it does is that when me and fathers like us, when we step inside of the courtroom, that same Google definition is in the mindset of these judges. They don't look at us as equal footing. They come in, we come in, we know the work that we've done, just like, you played that clip with Judge Judy, right? That father was raising his children, right,
Mm-hmm.
for the first couple of years. And then there's a breakup, right? I was raising my daughter, I was a sit-at-home dad. I was from 2020 to 2020 all the way to 23. I was a sit-home dad. This is not the 30s and 40s where, fathers are working 2 or 3 jobs. Some fathers are working from home now. I was working from home, taking care of my child. But when I got inside the family court system, all that was wiped away. I was told that I don't think that you'd be able to watch your child and work from home. This was a judge in 2023 that said that to me. And this is the 21st century. But this is the mindset. This is the systematic mindset that these judges, that the courts have especially against Black people. So where did it come from? It comes from a systematic system that they have inherited. They have inherited, right? They inherited from, their backgrounds, right? Their culture and history. And then they also have adopted it from what society has labeled us, right? And so, wholeheartedly, right, the circle back is that's what we need to do. We need to have a declaration, right, of acknowledgement in the family court systems that both parents, right, are equal. And I'm gonna say this also too, right? I've been working with the ACLU and I've been working with the University of Baltimore Law School, the Center for Children and Families. Shout out to Professor Shanti and Executive Director Aubrey. Both of them are amazing advocacies for children and family. And so anybody that's been inside the family court systems, right? You have, and I'm gonna use myself as an example. Me and mom both was raising our daughter together, right? We was raising our daughter together. She's working, I'm at home working, we're raising her, and then there's a breakup, right? When you go inside the family court systems, right? And then you stand in front of the courts, this judge, right? Don't you know that the judge then strips you of your humanity? And what I mean by that, right, and I want everybody to catch on to this, right, is that when a judge strips you of your humanity, they then reboot and determine if you are fit or not. So brother Malcolm, where that philosophy that came from, it came from slavery. Back in slavery days, right, they would usually take, right, the slaves. They would look at the male and they would look at the female, and they would see which one, right, that was fit enough right, to get on the field in the cotton field or whatever they had use for it. And the other one, they didn't have no use of it. They will say you unfit, and they will put you out there with the pigs and slogs or trade you off somewhere. That's the systematic system that we are has still crept inside of the most delicate system, right? In this country, which is the family court system. Think about that. The most racist terminology, the most racist playbook is still being used. And so I've sat inside of courtrooms doing courtroom advocacies. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in Howard County, a father that works for Tebow Price. He's a financial advisor for Tebow Price, been raising his 7-year-old son for almost 7 years, right? A judge then says, oh, I'm saying you unfit. You can see your children on the weekends. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And so that's what, you know what I mean? And I think the time is now. You know, we have, you know, like I said, Governor Wes Moore, you know, is in office, and I wholeheartedly believe, you know what I mean, that, and we had this conversation earlier, right, is that if we can, you know, bring these conversations with the power to be, per se, I think that there's a lot of interest, you know, that something like this is possible. We can get a good declaration of law for the state of Maryland.
Yeah, that's a good point, because, you know, the first attorney I had in my situation, Lydia Rose, I've been trying to catch up with her. She actually led a charge and worked with some folks and took it before Congress, because sort of like what they did for African Americans, where they said, okay, well, they didn't change the Constitution, which a lot of people don't understand. They just sort of put a Band-Aid on it, so that if somebody is seen to be racist, then you can go after them. You have a little bit of power, right? And so she was looking for something like that, and she went to the Congress and the Senate, and they said, they actually spoke in front of them, and they said, we're not ready for that yet.
Wow.
That was the whole point. It was trying to put something in place that forced the judges to look at it and say, we have to look at both of them on equal footing from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they said, we're not ready for that yet. Now, that was probably going on 15 years ago, you know, but the point is that what you said is it comes from slavery. It comes from so many different things. And one of the things I've seen with dads and fathers is we don't make enough noise.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I love my sisters. I love women, but women get together and they talk.
Yeah.
And then they march and it's spread out. Now, the interesting, ironic thing is, and it's sort of ironic because they make so much noise that even if they don't stick together the longest, it still affects the things because they make so much noise.
Yeah.
You know, that's not belittling women. That's not putting them down. I mean, everyone has good and bad and positive, but because they can make so much noise in not just this situation, but other situations, that it affects, you know, what's going on. Wait a minute. I hope you can still see me. I think I did hit a button. Oh, there we are. It affects what's going on. And so we have to make that noise. Fathers have to we have to start talking. And it's a hard thing to talk about, you know. We are you know, raised to be. We were in the fields when you talked about slavery, you know, the provider, the protector. It's hard to be the protector, but then have this other soft side, this transparent side, this the part that we got to talk about things that hurt.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the only way we will make a difference in this fight, in this battle.
It's a lot of interest. Like I said before, it's a lot of interest. I know that when in 2022, 2023, you know, in reference to the relocation of child, you know, I had, you know, a good friend of mine, Angel, you know, she came along and she helped me tremendously. We went out and got signatures. We went out and up into Annapolis. But, you know, the Bible says one could chase 1,000, two could chase 10,000, right? And so, and the narrative has always been, that, men, you don't stick together, don't make enough noise, but and so, what I've done, kind of like a research, right? I've gone back in time and I've watched clips of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, fast forwarded to, civil rights people like even the Al Sharptons of the world, Jesse Jacksons of the world. You see what I'm saying? Even Barack Obama was a community activist up in Chicago, in Southside Chicago, right? So I said all that to say is that, that it's the DNA is still there, right? It's connecting with these brothers, right? And then really igniting them. And I found out one of the reasons why that, some brothers just don't have it in them is because they've been beaten up by the court systems, financially, emotionally, and then on top of all that, you're not even seeing your child, what I mean? And so, but it's a reason why this organization is called Fathers Fighting for Fathers, right? You see what I'm saying? Because I got a passion in me that's going to burn until, Jesus Christ come back. You know what I mean? So I'm going to advocate, you see what I'm saying? Like, and I went out there and I could have easy tapped out. My daughter was moved from Maryland to the Virginia line, right? I could have easily said, okay, all right, go, you take it. You know what I mean? Though, but no, she's back, you know what I mean? And we're going to continue to fight to have her back fully, you know what I mean? Because, that's the right thing to do. That's my rights. And then my daughter also has rights. Like also too, Judge Judy said that the child has rights also too. So we're just going to continue to do what we need to do, to fight forward, for the rights of fathers and their children.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yes. And that's what I talked about that one thing, and I get it. A lot of days I'll think. I always tell people when I talk about and coach wealth and stuff like that, it's or even relationships about being committed to the commitment, because you often can't get you got to have something to get you through it because it may be so difficult. Yeah. And a lot of days I think, what's the point?
Yeah.
What is the point?
Yeah.
But then you keep going, you keep moving, and you run into a lot of people that have tapped out.
Yeah.
And it made me think when you would talk about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and sometimes I think, even myself being very careful what I say, because a judge said my children aren't supposed to see things about my situation. I put a gag order, and so, and I think, well, sometimes you got to have a martyr. Yeah. To make change, somebody got to be a martyr. You're a martyr, whether it's financially, whether it's spiritually, whether it's, emotionally, and then when things change, everybody looks back and says, man, if it wasn't for those people.
Right. And I'm glad you hit that point because, there's been many a times, I will say that there's not a week that goes by, right, that I'm laying across my bed, or I'm at a library, or I'm working on something, that, just tired, just mentally drained, because one doesn't know how it is to be out and advocate for fathers and getting their visitation and getting their custody. But then I'm coming home, you see what I'm saying, to my house by myself. My daughter's in here. Think about that for a minute. You know what I mean? The irony, let's give you a quick story, right? Is that this one particular mom reached out to us because we go up to the courthouses maybe once a month and pass out our flyers and stuff like that, because we really try to be preventive medicine when it comes to the family court system, letting these parents know, these moms and dads know, like, hey, look, you get inside here, you're going to be relinquished your rights, right? So we try to get up there maybe like once a month. And so this particular phrasing, but the irony of this particular mom was there, and I saw her struggling, filling out some courtroom documents and stuff. And so I said, excuse me, ma'am, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm okay. And so I just let her be. And so me and my assistant, we got up out of there. We was on our way down to the elevator. And then she was on that elevator. She got out the elevator. She said, excuse me, sir. She said, are you a lawyer or anything? I said, no, I'm not a lawyer, nothing like that. I said, we got an organization and we do advocacy work. Is something you can help us with? She said, yeah, really. She said, I'm really dealing with a situation, a domestic violence situation, and I just need some help. You know what I'm saying? Filling out the paperwork. My assistant took her paperwork. We filed the necessary documents for her. We walked her back up to the courthouse. She filed them, right? And the irony of this, right, is that I went home that night. The very next day, around 4 o'clock, she blowing up my phone, right? Marcus texting me. And I said, what's wrong? She said, oh my goodness, thank you so much. The courts granted my petition, right? The petition we put in, the courts granted. But not even that though, right? So we was interested. We was like, okay, all right. So my assistant, I said, well, who was it? I said, can you show us on the bottom of the paper who was it? It was Judge Kathleen Kavanaugh, the same judge that has been blocking me from my child for over 7 months. She's been blocking me, the irony. And I told that young lady, right, I said, do me a favor. I said, when next time you go back to court? She said, I go back in a few weeks because that was just a temporary order and all that stuff. I said, do you mind? I said, usually we like to give people, letters and acknowledge our organization, how we helped y'all. She said, I will be honored to do it. 2 weeks later, she get back in front of Kavanaugh again. And when Kavanaugh say, hey, I'm extending your order for another 6 months, she said, excuse me, Your Honor, I would like to address the court. And I would like to read something. She said, I would like to thank Fathers Fighting for Fathers, Mr. Marcus Trent. She said the judge took off her glasses and said, who did you say? Because she knows me very well.
Yeah.
And she said, who did you say? And she said, I would like to thank Marcus Trent and Fathers Fighting for Fathers for helping me. They was up here about a month ago. They helped me. They've been encouraging me. And they the one that allowed me to get in that courtroom today in the order that you granted. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I mean? So it's moments like that, man, you know what I mean, that, they keep me going, right? You know what I mean? And so I was really, that was a real epiphany that said, okay, all right, this is, I don't know if this is my calling or not, but this is what I'm going to be doing, you know what I mean, for the foreseeable future.
Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, that's even what our organization we're trying to do is help because there's mothers out there that have problems as well.
Yeah.
When women get real bent out of shape, you start talking about dads deserve justice. Like people get about, I saw posters, they were talking about, well, suppose you got black events, suppose we had white events.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But the nation used to always talk about if you're the oppressed, it's not the same as if you're the oppressor.
Right. And
so, but we're trying to raise funds and help women who don't weaponize the system.
Right, exactly.
Because, but not forgetting our fathers because we're the ones who, we're trying to balance the scale, so to speak.
Exactly.
But then if you have, women on your side, I know you talked about, one event you were at, there was actually more women there than there were men,
Yeah,
man.
And
so there's good women out there as well.
Yeah, it is, man. And that's one of the, since we started the organization, because the women, I will say the women are getting hit real hard with the Child Protective Services. You know what I mean? That is an agency systematically attacking mothers, right? That are going through substance abuse, that are going through mental health trauma, that are going through social issues and stuff like that. And they see a weak point. It's no more than, when a wrestler, when he know that arm or that finger or that shoulder, is hurting, or a player on a football team, they go after that. And so a lot of the mothers are now coming around, right, and are speaking out about how Child Protective Services and stuff, and how that they, are attacking them and stuff like that. But no, shout out to, there are some amazing mothers out there that are fighting too. There's some mothers out there that have their children that have been taken from them, not necessarily against the father, but mostly against the system, right? You know what I mean? And so those women, those moms that we are partner with, because when you talk about getting legislation passed, and you know this very well, it has to be a unilateral thing. It has to be a collective thing, and that's how we was able to get, the our legislation passed. We had moms, their grandparents, what I mean, calling up there, meeting up there, and stuff like that, because it affects their entire unit, what I mean, of the family unit, what I mean. With my mother, who my daughter is the first grandchild, first daughter of the family. So how does one think that affects her? You know what I mean? And so that's why we have to bring the grandmothers. I was telling my mother, I had her a couple of months ago at a meeting. I brought her there to meet House Speaker Andrea Jones. Let her know, what I mean, what is going on, how you are experiencing the trauma of being separated from your grandchild. They need to hear those lived experiences and stuff, what I mean, so that because those lived experiences, they make a big difference. You get up there and testify and speak on the behalf of your children. That's what we have to do. I mean, it's Dr. King said it best. He said that the riot comes from the voices of the unheard. You know what I mean? And so we gotta rattle. We got to get together. You know what I mean? And it's a campaign, but it can be done. It can be done. The blueprint has been there before. It's just uniting the fire with a few other people, man, and really making this happen.
Absolutely. I thought about that because my going through after my divorce, I was still going through stuff, but my mother got sick and my mother passed and never saw her grandkids again. And then, but my grandkids, my children, I have 3 boys, and my children had, when I found my biological mother during COVID, they now had now had 2 grandmothers.
Wow.
Now they're back to 1 grandmother, and they haven't seen her ever again since COVID.
Wow.
And so my son spoke to her for the first time about a week or so ago in a couple years, and then I'm gonna have a fight about that, because he spoke to grandma, and so it affects the whole family unit. And so, if any women are listening, that's something to take into consideration, because you might have boys, right? You're going to have sons one day, right? Or you might be a grandparent one day, or aunt or uncle, and all of a sudden something that you didn't think had anything to do with you is now going to affect you.
Yeah.
And so and then for us to try to be more reactive, more proactive than reactive.
Yeah.
Nip things in the butt. When I got married, I had some things in place that most people don't have in place.
Right.
But the one thing I left out was the children, because I never could have imagined what would happen there. I still wake up every day like, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
But when it came to finances, when it came to business, when it came to other things, I was taught to put some things in place.
Right.
But I never thought I would have to protect my own children that way.
Yeah. And that's that's tough, man, because while you trying to protect your protecting your children, you also have to stand right and be strong for yourself. That's why we're real big on mental health. I started just recently, as I think maybe like last year, once or twice, that I went to go see a therapist just to share with them, those emotions and those feelings and those concerns that I have, because, no man wholehearted, any good man, I know that there's some out there, man, that, that are, have put a mark, a bad mark, especially in the Black community, but wholeheartedly, no man, that generally cares, that have children, generally cares about them, just leaves them, and so we gotta make sure that while we fighting, that we're also, taking care of ourselves, and I encourage the fathers all the time. That's one of the things when we do the fatherhood PTA gatherings, we, tell the fathers to balance their time out. The school year is a long year because we got a lot of fathers that are single fathers that are, waking up in the morning time, burning the pancakes, right? Running out of apple juice in the morning time. Got to give them water, putting their clothes on. The pants might be always wrinkled. A little bit wrinkled. Getting them to school. You see what I'm saying? Then they running to work and then they got to deal with, when they at work and stuff. You see what I'm saying? And so, all those things play a part. And so, a lot of times I just pick up the phone and I call, certain fathers that I know that are really, really, raising their children on their own, to check on them and making sure that they got a support system and stuff, because that's really important, especially in these days and times when there's so much pressure, right, on us, especially as Black men, to be the provider, to feed, and to also take care of ourselves, right? So much pressure. And so, we have to be there for one another, man, to call, to check up on, fathers and stuff, and making sure, that they are, they are well and stuff. So.
Well, I definitely appreciate, we've almost gone an hour. We can sit here and talk forever. It's therapeutic to me to hear another brother talk and just know that he has some of the feelings that I have.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it is. It is.
And I see, I think you gave Angel the link. Angel's been popping on. I don't know if you want her to just say hello or say anything.
Oh, yeah, she can chime in. That's and she's like my aunt, man. Angel's the one that went with me and got the bill passed and stuff. So
there she go. Hello, Angel. How are you? Wait, make sure the sound is on.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. I saw you walking around down there, so I'm just getting used to this system. We just put this studio together, so we just figuring it out. But I saw you walking around down there, and I know Marcus said your name. I said, well, I wanted to just throw you out there, but I said, well, just tell us real quickly your story as we close out this thing.
Well, I'm actually in the market right now, so I'm in a bad spot. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I just actually listened into your Yes One Please. I was just, it really feels good to hear you guys. I'm sorry, y'all. You picked a fine time as soon as I checked out.
No problem.
I'm in the struggle with y'all, but it feels good to hear that men, how proactive y'all are in defending and advocating for your children. And I heard you mention about us women. Us women, we do need to pull together a little bit more. I just want to let you know it's not always the case. So I would like to share.
Y'all pull together a lot, women power and stuff like that. I work in the music entertainment industry, and it's sad because I have a lot of experience. If you notice, a lot of women groups don't stay together forever. A lot of male groups will last forever, but the contracts are written different for women because they start to battle at some point.
We do. We break down. And in my experience, I have 2 children, and that have in the system. So it is a lot. I would have to share with you a lot. Marcus, you can fill them in.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate you hanging out there and supporting Marcus and everything he's doing, and whatever we can do. I'm looking forward to take this to a whole nother level. We gotta make noise. We gotta have money. One of my goals is to get donations of $1.
That now ain't that smart?
Get $1 a week. My first goal is 100,000 people, and they can do more. They can do more months. They can do whatever, but I want everyone has to do at least $1 a week. Now they can cancel whenever they want, but to do $1 a week. I figured, well, if you got 100,000 people, $1 a week, closing out at about $5 million. And the sad part is, I look at what I've spent, and I know the cost. So of course, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money. But for some father or some mother who needs the help, if you can write a check for a couple $1,000s to start the process along, we can make a difference in that way, because you got to have the noise, but you got to have the money. This world runs off of money.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's what I learned. Lack of money. And sometimes I was telling, have the conversation we had earlier. Brown skin. If you have a little too much money in the court system, they're gonna they're gonna use that against you and make you dwindle that money away. And
Yeah.
then when you have no money, it's all exhausted. They're really gonna have their way with you because I lived through that.
Yeah.
And it's like just because of the color of my skin, I do believe because I know in my heart, if I was white
Hmm.
and a white family, I'd have I'd have my children back now. I
Right.
don't think I know I would have my children back now. And or a lot of people I was formerly incarcerated, so my
Hmm.
story goes deep. You know, I watched drug addict girls come home. I came home not a drug addict, but I
Hmm.
came home after serving my time. The same girls that I was in there with
Got
came
that.
home and got their children right back.
Right.
And I couldn't understand it. It's like because they entered into those service agreements because they were drug addicts. It's some kind of thing. They protect. They were very protected, but they had their children.
Hmm.
They signed that agreement, and a lot of them are still out here getting high. And I watch them. I get so upset. Like, here I am stuck. Y'all had the opportunity, and you just give your children away to another family member again.
Hmm.
And the system still repeatedly gives them another service agreement. And that's why I said that a lot of women don't we're not together
Hmm.
because it's like this big group. We have a bunch of women. We have the same story. However, our outcomes and the different
Right.
because of those service agreements or because the services that social services gives them. So it's all kinds of things that I could touch on, like that I've witnessed through this, and it hurts because I'm not the person that I was back then.
Right.
My case wasn't a case of neglect. It
Hmm.
was a case of me fighting for my child, advocating for my child who was a preemie.
Hmm.
And the hospital didn't want to hear it. So DSS got involved. And that's where it all started, a big old fight, and none of it was for the best interest of either one of my children.
Right. Right.
So I could go on and on. Yeah, I'm
I,
not just doing that.
I felt that money thing. I had a judge say to me,
Uh-huh.
so you're well traveled, you have all this success, you got a doctorate, everything that's supposed to be good.
Right.
He sat on a stand and said it was bad.
Mm.
Huh.
Yeah, and then I found out about when it came to money. One time I ran into a situation. They were like, "Well, impoverish yourself. Don't because you've made millions, then you should be able to go make millions tomorrow."
Ain't that
So
ain't that something?
I felt that when you were talking about that.
Oh,
What I
okay.
also another thing I think about getting the money is to go after the judges, to go
Yep.
after people who weaponize the system,
Yeah.
to sue them.
Come on,
Yeah.
Mike.
We
Yeah.
have.
Yep.
I tried to go after a judge one time. It was $300,000 just to start to go after a judge because they're so protected.
Yeah.
They
But
are
you know one
protected,
thing that
and hospitals too are
Yeah,
protected.
we have to
you
be
know one
protected.
thing that we have to do though that I did some research on is that
Mm.
right now there's a bill right now in Annapolis right now where the judicial judges are trying to eliminate the elections. Think about that. They are elected officials, right? And so they're trying to do that so they can just slide right in from attorney to judges, right? Without the people's voting them in. But one of the things that we got to do, and I'm on point for next election season for here in the state of Maryland, we already got a list of judges that are running for re-election or running for election. And we're going to
Mhm.
try to do as much as look at their record. You see what I'm saying? You got judges
Right.
that are career prosecutors that's locking up people, sending them to jail, prosecute them, and then all of a sudden now, they're sitting on a bench dealing with a delicate situation like family court. How can a judge who has no background, in these areas, right, then sit down there for 2 hours and determine a parent, a mother, and make decisions for the rest of their life. You see what I'm saying? But these type of conversations, right? And I've learned this a lot. I was talking to Senator Bill Ferguson about a couple of weeks ago. And he said, Marcus, I was sharing with him about an issue that was going on. He said, Marcus, I did not know that was going on in the court systems right now. And I said, yes, sir. And what we have to do is that we have to bring our lived experiences in those offices, share those with these delegates and senators and the governor and them, and let them know what is actually happening in real time, right? Because if not, they're going to continue to do the same old, public safety, healthcare, Chesapeake Bay, the school and all that stuff like that. Those are the recycled bills and legislation and stuff, but we have to get our stories, Angel stories and my story. We have to get those stories into these people's ears and laps so it can be ink on paper. And then this will put these courts, these judges in a position, right, to abide by. Because right now, there's no checks and balances when it comes to, and they know that. That's why they continue to do what they have been doing, even up to right now to 2025. You got the same judges that made rulings in your case are making rulings in my case also too. You know what I mean? Because there's no checks and balances. And so it's our job, right? You got the legislative black caucus, right? You know what I mean? All 100 and all of them, so they should know, what is going on, in the family court system against black mothers and black fathers, and stuff like that. But we have to take our stories to them, and advocate for them to put legislation in place for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure, man. I would love to keep on going, but thank you, Angel, for jumping in real quick right there and giving some of your emotion and some of your story. We'll definitely have you back on, and guys,
I'll be prepared.
No problem. I'll be more prepared myself. Mark is the most.
Oh yeah, Marcus is up on his game. He'll send you a link quick, and he's always ready. He's always ready.
I got that camera being the main camera, so if I'm looking at y'all, I'm probably not looking in the eyes of y'all.
Yeah. You did a good job, man. I like the format, man.
It was nice.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. So anyway, guys, Marcus, you want to give a website or something, or somewhere they can get in touch with you, sign up, do whatever?
Yeah, sure. They can. My website is fathers.org. That's www.fathersfightingforfathers.org. If there's fathers out there, mothers out there that are looking for assistance, resources, advocacy work, you can go to the website. You can stroll right down, reach out to us. Our team will get in contact with you no less than 24 to 48 hours. We on Instagram. Our social media for Instagram is ff4f.inc. On Facebook, we are Fathers Fighting for Fathers, and on Twitter, we are Fathers S for Fathers and everything. So definitely reach out to us, connect with us, partner with us, and so we can continue to make this movement. And definitely thank you, Dr. Malcolm, man, for bringing us on, man, and let us just talk and network and continue. I look forward to these conversations, man, that we can build together, brother.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate you coming on. I know we just connected again, but I look forward. I'm here now.
Yes, sir.
I had to get my mental together.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Y'all a power team. Amen. Have a good night, you guys.
Thank you, Angel. Absolutely. And definitely, Marcus, I'll have you back on as well. We'll put some of these things together, and we're just gonna make some noise and make some change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Appreciate you being on, my brother.
All right, man. Take care here.
All right. Later. All right. Let me turn this around and we'll close it out with y'all a little bit here. Here. All right, guys. Well, I know I had to flip-flop and do a little bit with some different I guess I'll leave y'all on here like this. That phone's about ready to die. I don't think I can turn this one around. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys being on. My name again is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander, guys. This is Dads Deserve Justice. Thanks to the WAA Network, Winners All Around. Please go to winnersallaround.com. Register if you're an artist. Register if you're a business owner. We're putting together these podcasts and streams and everything for you guys as well. We have a thing last night. We had our first with different artists coming on, performing and different things of that nature. And we putting them on different platforms all at the same time. So that's why I've been juggling phones and things of that nature, because everything isn't all hooked up. Some of the stream keys you can't get from some social medias and different stuff. So we're working through all that, guys. But we're excited about where we're going. We're going to keep this going. We plan to be back. Let me see. Next week, let me bring that up really quick so you guys can see. Okay, here is the next week. So next Thursday, 11:30. If you're an artist or a business owner, you want interviews with you, you want to do some performance, do some spit some bars, do some singing, some poetry. Come on our show next Thursday at 11:30 p.m. We usually go to about 2 a.m. And all around the world, guys, this is being broadcast. And so go ahead and take that notes down for that, as well as let's see, my other one is for next week. Where's my red one? This, of course, was what we are going to be next week on the 21st. We'll be back again 6 p.m. with another Dads Deserve Justice show as well. And we definitely love to have other fathers, other people, business people, anybody who can be involved to make the calls. Please go to dadsdeservejustice.org. There's a Cash App on there, money sign Retire Rich is the Cash App. We had to take it down because we're redoing all of the sites, the Winners All Around site, the Dads Deserve Justice site. So we took down, but you can still donate a Cash App that way. But guys, and please think about $1 a week, just $1 a week. Our goal is 100,000 people at $1 a week to start the process off, so we can help fathers, we can help mothers who don't weaponize the system, and we can help people. But more importantly, we can help the children. And so with that being said, guys, I appreciate you being on. We'll be back next week, as you see, on the 21st at 6 o'clock for another show with Dads Deserve Justice. I want to thank Marcus Trent for being on, a special guest today. Sort of last minute. And thank you for Angel for jumping in as well. Thanks to my partner for helping to make this whole thing possible. Winners All Around, Miss Rowe. You can see her do her thing. And she's a hip hop artist guy and an international global streamer. Myself as well. I've been in the entertainment and music for years. A lot of success in that arena, network marketing and health. Created millionaires, made millions, helped other people make millions. And now it's time for us to give back to the community and make some things pop. As you can see, we're getting this thing together. I'm excited. You know, we just had to jump in and do it. And I thank you guys for jumping on. I saw one of my Lexus Solis, one of those politicians out there making moves. I saw her jump on Instagram as well. I see you guys over here on Tagged. I wanted to get you in as well. Tag won't give us a stream key. So whatever you can, tip over here and gift over here, we definitely appreciate you guys jumping on Tagged as well. We're taking that money and putting it back into fathers, putting in the mothers who don't weaponize the system, and putting it in just to help grandparents and good people. And so, guys, I appreciate you jumping on again. Go to dadsdeservejustice.org, winnersallaround.com. On YouTube, please go subscribe on our YouTube, Winners All Around on YouTube, as well as winnersallaround.com, and register if you're just a person and you want to support or know what's going on with all of our different shows. We have shows for musicians. We have shows for business people coming up. We have Dads Deserve Justice. We have coaching. We review CDs and songs and all types of different things here, guys. We're creating our Winners All Around YouTube channel as a television network to help grow people and help business owners and artists get exposure that they can't do on their own, as well as create income streams in their passions. With that being said, guys, God bless. I appreciate you being on. Again, my name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander, and we'll see you again next week and the next time. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys, Tag, for jumping on. And thanks, YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, StreamYard, one of our sponsors as well, for helping us make this happen and bringing this thing together. God bless. I'll see you soon.